Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Director Brian De Palma has never run into a type of film that he can't handle. During his career in Hollywood, he's dabbled in action films, crime dramas, psychological thrillers, and film noirs. But one of his most impressive achievements ever was the 1976 film Carrie. The screenplay itself was written by Lawrence Cohen, and it stars Sissy Spacek as Carrie White. And the film also features Piper Laurie, Amy Irving, Nancy Allen, William Catt, P.J. Soles, Betty Buckley, and John Travolta in supporting roles. And it was Stephen King's first big screen adaptation of his novels. Carrie marked a number of firsts for the soon-to-be best-selling author. In addition to this being his first published novel, it was also the first of his stories to be made into a film. Since this original book's release, his works have formed the basis for more than 100 movies, television movies, and series. King thought that the director De Palma handled Carrie in a more artistic way than he had. He actually praised the director's adaptation of his novel. He stated that the approach to his material was lighter and was a good deal more artistic. The book seemed clear enough and truthful enough in terms of the characters and their actions, but it lacked the style of De Palma's film. The book attempts to look at the ant farm of high school society dead on. De Palma's examination of this high school confidential is more oblique and more cutting. He made all these statements about 5 years after the film was released. Now, many years later, he's kind of changed his tune somewhat, and he's slightly less enthusiastic about what he had said. He now calls it just a good movie, but he doesn't believe it has aged as well as some of his others, but he still calls it pretty good. King was such a newcomer at the time of Carrie's release, his first name was actually misspelled in the movie's trailer. It was written Stephen with a V, not a PH, like his name is really spelled. The director, De Palma, ended up casting for Carrie at the same time that his good friend George Lucas was doing the same for a little sci-fi film that he was making called Star Wars. So the two of them made the rather unorthodox decision to hold joint auditions, which ended up becoming a bit confusing. You see, De Palma liked Amy Irving for the lead in Carrie, but she was also considered for the role of Princess Leia in Star Wars. Carrie stars Amy Irving and William Catt had dated in real life. Before being cast as Sue Snell and Tommy Ross, Bates High School's golden couple, Irving and Catt, had actually dated. It was like a year before they tested for Carrie. They were only together for a very short time, and then they became very good friends. Suddenly, they were tested for this film together. They tested with a scene that wasn't in the movie. This one big scene was cut completely out. It was one where they were in the back seat of a car, and it was very physical. They felt pretty lucky about this when they were doing it because they had already been through that. They knew what each other was going to do, and it made them a lot more comfortable with the scene. But they didn't end up having much together in the final print. This film was John Travolta's first movie. During this time frame, his star status was rising like crazy because of his role on Welcome Back, Kotter. But Carrie is the film that marked his big screen debut. Piper Laurie completely missed the whole idea about the film. She thought this movie was a satire. She earned an Oscar nomination for her role as Carrie's fanatical mother, and she was all but retired when she agreed to play this role. Her last feature film had been The Hustler from 1961. but her interpretation of the script was quite different than the director's intentions were, something she didn't realize until filming began. Once De Palma revealed that he didn't want a satirical approach at all, and he even told her, if you do it like that, you're going to get a laugh. She then realized that he didn't want laughs. Laurie says she embraced the reality of what she was playing, and she really enjoyed having the childlike freedom to play act and to be the evil witch. She felt like it was very freeing and fun to do. Nancy Allen, who played the mean girl Chris, also believed that she and Travolta were there sorta as comic relief. It wasn't until she saw the final cut of the film that she realized that they were actually villains. Sissy Spacek kept in character as Carrie by keeping to herself during the whole filming process. In order to fully embrace the alienation her character faces, she spent most of the production isolated from the rest of the cast. On one of the first days of shooting, she came over and told the rest of the cast, who was eating lunch, that she loved them and that she knew they were going to have a great shoot and that she was very excited to be working on this project. But she just wanted to let the guys know that she was going to alienate herself from them. She wanted to feel completely isolated so she could make this come forth in the character. Director De Palma was a fan of Sissy Spacek's work, but he was convinced that he had already found Carrie in another actress. His decision to let her audition at all was mostly out of courtesy to her husband, Jack Fisk. He was the film's art director. Spacek's husband told her that if she wanted to, she could try out for the part of Carrie White, but that there was another girl that was set to play this role already. And unless she could really surprise the director, she wouldn't be able to get the part. But she then decided to go for it. She showed up at the audition in an old dress that she hadn't worn since grade school, actually about the 7th grade, one that her mother had made her and that the hem was completely missing in. She got the jar of Vaseline out and slicked back her hair and strolled into the audition wearing this sailor dress that her mother had made and walked out of there with the part. She quickly left the audition before they could tell her that they had changed their mind. Take a look back at this great film. It's well done, and it's a shocker. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.